Hello, this is Donna, psychic medium and direct messenger for spirit. The afterlife is actually all around us. The messages from our loved ones, spirit guides, and pieces of our soul are waiting to be heard. If this is your first episode, welcome. I invite you to go back and listen to previous episodes where I link my guest to their loved one or a piece of their soul's existence in the afterlife. Thank you for listening and for sharing. Please consider leaving a review. Enjoy and stay tuned for more. I have a feeling there will be much more from the afterlife. If you are interested in a private reading with me, or if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, see the show notes. Good afternoon. How are you today?
I am great, Donna. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. We're going to read a loved one today. Is that correct?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to get started with both closing our eyes. And we're going to take 3 full breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in. And exhaling, letting go of everything we've brought before this moment. Breathing in. And exhaling, softening from the head down through the toes. Breathing in. Opening the heart and opening the mind. State out loud, I am open to receive.
Ooh, I am open to receive.
Great. You can open your eyes now. For me, state your first name and the phrase, it's a beautiful day.
Chris, it's a beautiful day.
Thanks, Chris. Now will you state the first name of the loved one that you'd like to link up with?
Jerry.
I don't know how I knew that, but that was coming through earlier today.
Yeah.
I posted a video about something that happened to me over 10 years ago. And Jerry Hicks, who was the first spirit that ever appeared to me in full physical form, he had said something to me one day, and the words he had said to me were, "Hey, that's my name." And that's the video I talked about this morning in a social media post.
Nice.
So when you said Jerry, I'm like, of course that's his name. So there's number one.
Yeah.
Did Jerry have a deeper, huskier voice?
Let's see. Yeah, certainly not a high voice. Yeah. I mean, probably comparable maybe to mine, a bit lower. I mean, we're going kind of way back now, but I think so.
So let me say how that appeared to me.
Okay.
It was more of a commanding voice to me, which would have been, okay, Donna's ready to listen to me, and I would like to be listened to. Would that make sense to how he was in the physical world?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
The type of guy that had something to say. So if he said, oh, I've got something to say, someone else would have said, I'm going to listen to Jerry. Do you understand that?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Did he also have something with his throat, though? Was there, I'm not feeling pain or anything in my throat, so I would say it's some sort of things that he might have left unsaid.
Oh, left unsaid, I would think probably quite a lot. Yeah.
Okay, hold on there.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Donna, but let me tell you how I am now. Like, you know how you put in a subject line, RE, colon, and then you put what it's about?
Yes.
He's like, if I could have lived my life that way in short little blurbs, like, here's what I'm going to talk about, RE, da-da-da-da-da-da, and then not have to say anything else. I would have loved if that was the way I could have lived my life, like gotten my word across, my feelings across, my emotions across by just one line. Does that make sense when we talk about Jerry?
I can't say. I don't know.
Okay, let me continue then.
All right.
He laughed, obviously, because I'm starting to smile.
Yeah.
When he said that, like the Joker part of him, the humor part of him. Would that make sense?
Certainly. Yes.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he played the hand that he was dealt.
Mm.
He's saying, I'm not pushing anything off on anyone. I used everything that was accessible to me to live my life. I played the hand that I was dealt. Chris, would you know that about Jerry?
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. I could take that probably a few different ways, but any way I could take it does make sense for him. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't see Jerry as an older soul. Would he have crossed probably a little bit older than mid-age? Would that make sense?
Roughly. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say between 50, 60, 50, 65, 70, that age.
Oh, definitely before that.
Before 50.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, before 50, I think if I had to put a decade to it, if you want me to, I would say 40s.
Okay. Did he look a lot older? Did he look older than he was? Did he have some wrinkles? Did he have a harder exterior
Yeah.
as far as physically?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep.
That would be my reason for saying a little bit older.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to say I don't see or feel anything physical in my body that would tell me he really wasn't sick or he didn't complain about being sick. And whatever took him fast or like an accident or something. Would that make sense, Chris?
Yes, he definitely was not sick that I'm aware of, and his passing was fast.
Was he also a bigger guy? I mean, he just appears that huskier, if I were to put a label on it, like the Italian part of Donna, seeing the men in their, I don't know, like the Sopranos, as he keeps coming to my head.
Absolutely. Not necessarily like big framed big guy, but big personality. And when you mentioned that sort of Italian, if you mean like the persona, 100%.
Yep. And then I brought up the Sopranos because that's what is in my head. That what's his name from the Sopranos, the head guy from the Sopranos.
I think he's taking you into the territory that would make most sense to come up here. Yeah.
So it might be literal and not figurative. Is that what you're saying, Chris?
Somewhat.
Okay. Even the clothing that he has on has that soprano. I'll keep using that word.
Yeah.
As an adjective, I guess, soprano-esque about him. You know, maybe the vest, but without a tie, but also might have worn a big ring.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm like, he said, I hope he doesn't start like, I don't know what else I want to see here. Would he be the sort of person, I don't want to know anything about the internet. I don't want to know that anything is on the internet that has to do without me, meaning when you put something on the internet, it's forever.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I really don't want to know that there are things about me that are accessible to people forever. I don't feel he's embarrassed, but I feel there's something about that, the internet presence, that he doesn't want put out there. He doesn't want to be seen. Would you know if there's something about his life or behind the scenes that he wouldn't be happy about if it was shared on the internet?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Yes. Yes. No doubt.
I would like to hear some good stories right now, but I'm not thinking he's going to go there. But go ahead, Chris. What were you going
Well,
to
he
say?
might. No, I was just going to say, I mean, his passing way predated internet, but I think it sounds like he's basically suggesting that he wouldn't exactly be proud of all that could be known about him, but he worries not because internet came so much later.
So clearly what he's saying, yes, is what you said.
Right.
He wouldn't want any of what he did to be accessible to many people.
Yeah.
I'm telling him that's cool. You got it. Don't worry about it, Jerry.
No worries. Yeah.
I sense him as being alone, Chris. I wouldn't just say like when he crossed, but I'll say for his life when he was here. Was he either alone or did he feel just so alone, like that he didn't have a close companion or a partner?
I would say Yes, like he was, I would think, more of a loner. He did have some relationships, but they all did seem sort of short lived. Certainly not a marriage or lifelong partner, nothing like that.
I don't feel it was a detriment to him. I think whatever he felt about not having a partner was buried pretty deep inside of him.
Yeah,
So he didn't let that out, that he was sad because of that or anxious because of that. He was more of that big person persona that I'm not going to let anybody else know what's going on in here. Does that make sense, Chris?
total sense.
Thank you. I'm not really getting a relationship that you are because I just feel him so far removed. But if I were to say it was like more of a comparable, like either a brother, an uncle, who was he to you, Chris?
Would you want me to state that?
Yes,
Yeah, he was my uncle.
your uncle. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
While I'm quiet, I talk to him and I get him to say a little bit more. He really hasn't changed his position since the reading started.
Hmm.
He hasn't changed how he's over to my right hand side, just a little bit in front of me. He hasn't really changed what he looks like. He hasn't changed his clothing.
Yeah.
Really like stuck in a time warp almost.
Hmm.
I don't know if that was him in the physical world also, but let me continue with that. Stuck in a time warp, meaning maybe everything he said also might have been outdated, might have been stuff that was only said years ago. And we're like, Jerry, move on. It's now whatever. But he wasn't willing that. He kept bringing up the same old stories. Would that make sense?
It would, yeah, because he was always very much a sign of the times in a sense. And the era that he did pass was quite signature in terms of verbiage and clothing styles and music. So, and he very much, his identity was connected to all that, a reflection of all that. So I'm not surprised that he's sort of fixed there, if that's kind of what you're getting.
That is exactly. Thank you for
Yeah.
saying that so much better than I did, but everybody just listen to Chris now. He just got what I read, what I saw. Thank you. I'm still talking to him. And I feel now he's getting down deeper into his emotions. And there is some sadness about him.
Yeah.
Something that he crossed with, something that, again, we'll go back to, he wasn't able to state in his mind.
Yeah.
And in that time, he wasn't able to state really what his true emotions were. And he's telling me, and they weren't just what you think, they were even deeper down than what you think. A lot of people have said, oh, Jerry, if you'd only try this or do this. And he was like, you have no idea what's going on, not just in his body, but in his heart.
Oh, I believe it. Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give him a big hug. And he's like, oh, I'm not ready for that, Donna. Okay, no worries.
Right.
I asked first. So would you say, Chris, even in the physical world, he wasn't that hugger?
Yeah, I don't recall him being incredibly demonstrative. Yeah,
Affectionate.
right. That's right.
I kind of thinking, but, like I give him these little prompts and he's like, I don't know. I just told you what I thought, Donna. What else do you want? He's still just that sort of person. I'm going to go back to what was that Soprano's name? What was the boss's name?
Tony.
Yeah, it was Tony. Let's just go with Tony. That just Tony-esque about him
Yeah.
is still like, that's what I said. That's what I meant. Stop asking me any more questions. I'm like, but that's why we're here.
Right.
This is the idea. And he's like, yeah, but I'm like, you're right. It's totally up to you what you want to share, Jerry. It is not for us to push anything or pull anything out from you.
Right.
You understand that, Chris?
Totally. Yep.
And what part of what you do for a living, because I know that, tell our listeners that, what part of what you do for a living relates a little bit to him? Did he do the same thing? He might have set you on a path with something that he said or done. or someone else in his family is what you also are?
I would say no to all of that, but I would say that his passing really lingered with me. And it was part of my unfolding curiosity about the spirit world and after death and what happens and can we contact souls and eternality of the soul and all that, which is very much a part of my way of working transpersonally in the therapeutic space.
That would make sense because
Yeah.
he was claiming this was me, that he's doing what he does.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You just explained it.
All right.
It's me. I'm interpreting this like little image this guy is trying to give me in the world of spirit.
Right. Right.
But that's the idea.
Takes a village sometimes, right?
It does. Thank you. Thank you for that ability, Chris. You see me, and I'll just say for my listeners, I'm not looking at him. And there's been many times during this reading that I've put my head down or turned the opposite side. It feels to me like he's a little embarrassed, that I don't want to embarrass him more by looking at him. Like I feel I don't want to push him. I don't want to put him in an uncomfortable position. Chris, does that just make sense to you? You may not agree with it or disagree with it, but does that make sense what I said?
I think it does if I connect that to that I imagine that at least at the time of his passing, I believe that he likely passed with a lot of shame about some of his life choices and the way he lived. So if that might be what you're connecting to, that would make sense. I would hope that at this point he would be free of that, but
as I go through a reading like this, he's going to keep giving me things that happen so we know it's him.
right.
And then at some point, yes, I would hope we're going to push through that. And he's going to say, okay, this is how I am now. I'm not getting that at the moment.
Yeah.
This is how this sort of reading goes. We're just going to keep helping him as much as we're helping ourselves here.
Yeah.
But even I don't know sometimes what they're doing, whether it's some sort of intervention or it's just
Right. Sure.
the way it is. We don't know yet. But I have that feeling still within me. And he's saying to me, Donna, I don't want you to feel that way. I'm saying thank you. But I feel this way because this is what you are putting off to me. I don't feel this way because I don't know you, Jerry. I don't know anything about you, but I'm reading your persona.
Yeah.
Telepathically what you're putting into my head. And he's like, I understand that.
Yeah.
And he said, that would be something that I did then in the physical world.
Right.
I might have blamed other people for what I was putting out there. I might have blamed other people. And that is what I am ashamed of. Chris, do you agree with that?
Yeah, it makes sense. In the way I'm interpreting that it makes sense. Yes.
While we're talking, I say other things to him because I don't want him to feel that way. I pause a lot because he pauses a lot. It's like he's really, really thinking about what he should say right now. And I'm like, nothing's wrong.
Right.
And nothing's right about what you say. We just want you to say. And we want to help if we can help.
Yeah.
I don't feel there are a lot of people around him in the non-physical world either, because he puts himself in a spot like that. And I'm going to go back to what we were just saying. He's not morphing. He's not changing. He's not ascending. He's not doing that right now. So I'm telling him, you don't have to hold that. This doesn't have to be a carryover. You don't have to hold these emotions from the physical world. You are no longer that. You are the soul who was Jerry. You are not Jerry.
Right.
And he says, Donna, I understand all of that. However, it still feels my emotions are getting the best of me most of the time. And I'm telling him that's okay, but also understand as a soul, you don't have to pick those up.
Yeah.
You don't have to have them anymore. And maybe, just maybe, you're holding on too tight to the physical world so that you're feeling the emotions of the physical world.
Mm.
And I can say, for one, as being a member of this physical world, that there's a heck of a lot of emotions on this planet. And we as humans practice everything we have, not picking up other people's emotions.
Mm.
And I can only imagine, I'm still speaking to him, I can only imagine if you remain so close to the physical world that you will be picking up those also. And he's like nodding his head and saying, I probably should look at that, shouldn't I?
Mhm.
And I'm like, yes. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Remember how I said at the beginning, do you have tissues? Because there's tears maybe coming. And I feel now that statement was for Jerry.
Yeah.
He's shedding a tear right now.
I see.
I've never seen a soul that I'm speaking to in the non-physical world shed a tear.
Wow.
But I'm going to state again, he's still kind of caught up in that human existence.
Yeah.
And we want him to ascend. We want him to get lighter and brighter and move on up.
Certainly.
He says, Donna, I have to look at this a lot deeper. When I first arrived here, I didn't want to see what I did in the physical world. I didn't want to see it. I didn't do the life review. I didn't look at my movie. I didn't want to see it. And I guess we could see this was going this way, Chris, by the way this reading was heading.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel he even knows how long he's been there.
Mm.
I don't think he understands. There's no time there. So to him, it could be just yesterday.
Interesting. Yeah.
So we as humans can't feel bad however long it's been. Sounds like it's been a while. I haven't even asked you, but it sounds like it's been a while.
Yeah.
That he's been there, but it's not that way for him.
Yeah.
So I'm telling him as I speak to you, Chris, that it might be time to do that life review, since you have two people, two humans right here in front of you that judged you. Not at all.
Totally.
When you've admitted your stuff, we all have stuff.
Yeah.
And all we want to do as humans is reach the spirit so that, number one, we can hear what they have to say. And number two, there might be something that we need to say.
Yeah.
It goes two ways.
Right.
I just still feel this sense of still got the outfit on. He's still got that, head bowed. He's still standing in the same place.
Yeah.
But I do want to say he's open to the life review now. I said, because when here it is. When you see that life review, there's nobody else to judge you but you.
Yeah. That's my understanding as well.
So he's getting that now.
Yeah.
And that was the reason. For him, it was more him judging himself,
Right.
physical world and the spirit world.
Right.
So we're telling him to let that go. And Chris, I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to tell Jerry that same thing.
Yeah. Jerry, I hope the same for you. I understand that time is not linear where you are. So from where I am, gosh, it's been 30 some odd years and never too late, right? So, yeah, perhaps it is time to do that life review, watch the film, make your amends, forgive yourself, know that you are loved and forgiven here by everyone that I know, and you're just missed, and only the best is wanted and wished for you. So rise up, my dear uncle. Grab that light. Keep going.
That's beautiful. He just needs to turn around. He's so focused, remember, facing this direction as opposed to spirit direction.
Yeah.
And, it happens in my 10 years of readings. This happens, and this is why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the person we're helping more on the other side than this side.
Right.
He's nodding his head now. It's still bowed, though. I still have that sense of not like if I have to, but crap, I have to.
Yeah.
He's admitting it. Crap, I have to.
Yeah.
And I will. And now it's making a little bit more sense why there's nobody around him in the non-physical world either.
Mm.
I'm trying to reach out to any other family members, moms, dads, whatever. And he was by himself. And again, like you said, there's no time. So to him,
Yeah.
he's only been sitting in this probably for 5 minutes.
Right.
I'm thanking him for showing up.
Yeah, I do too.
That's a big part of the process, as you and I both know, just showing up.
Right.
He showed up and allowed us to help. I'm bringing Jerry in because he's been chomping at the bit since the beginning. My Jerry Hicks.
Ah.
He's like, I'm going to do some more of this, Donna. I'm on it. And I was like, thanks for that memory this morning, because this all played out perfectly today.
Very much so.
That's my name too. Typically him and Abe come together, and he said, I'm not bringing Lincoln in on this one. This one's just for me. And I'm like, I'm sure there's some underlying reason to that between you two, but I'll just say, Jerry, meet Jerry.
Yeah.
And now the two of you have someone to chat with. So Jerry, Chris is Jerry. If you have any questions, Jerry is right here to answer them. And I'm sure going forward that Chris will also be available to keep reminding you that you are loved and that you are worthy of becoming the true soul that you are.
Absolutely.
Chris, would you like to expand on anything?
I don't think so. If we're sort of in the wrap up part, then I'll just say that it was long suspected, not known, but long suspected that my dear uncle may have been gay or at least bisexual at a time where, that was not really cool. So again, not known, but suspected. But what was known was that towards the later years, he developed quite a drug problem, and that's what collapsed his heart, and that's why he died suddenly. That's why the sort of Italian, fast lane, all of that hit completely 100% a bullseye. That's the life he was living, the discos and the cocaine and all this, right? Fast cars, the whole nine. And he died in his sleep from basically an overdose of cocaine. It just shut his heart down. And that was it. So that's also what I meant by, I would guess that once he left his body, there was a tremendous amount of shame about the way he was living, especially toward the end. And perhaps the secrets or the things that about him, like he was suggesting to you, that maybe he never felt he could reveal, it wouldn't be accepted, etc.
So many blanks that were just filled in.
Right.
Before you started speaking, the word shame was all over the inside of my head.
Yeah.
Because that was what I was feeling. Remember, I was saying I had to keep bowing my head. I had to keep turning away.
Yeah.
Because he was making me feel.
That's right.
The shame that he felt.
You were saying that you kept seeing him with his head down, which is the posture of shame.
Yes. Shame is just one of the hardest.
The bear.
Here in this physical world. He's still there. Jerry's right there beside him. There is no more looking at me. It is only Jerry's, the two Jerry's now together. And that for you, Chris, you can't ask for any more right now.
No, that's fantastic. You are meaning Jerry Hicks?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The two of them together feel like old buddies also too.
Well, good.
I feel Jerry looks like this skinnier, my Jerry, this kind of a skinnier version of your Uncle Jerry.
Yeah.
The two of them together, two peas in a pod now. Maybe that's why he didn't want Lincoln in. He's like, nope, this is a Jerry thing, Donna. No Abe's today.
I'm not sure my uncle would have related to old Abe anyway.
There's another reason. Wonderful, wonderful speaking with you, Chris. And
yeah, thank you.
I'm so glad that your Uncle Jerry popped in this morning earlier and today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been checking in with my own guidance about that and getting nothing but a yes, it's in the highest and best good. And yes, Donna will be able to connect with him. And I will say, the way you honed in on his, let's just say, persona, his outward identity, 100%. Shirt open, the hairy chest, gold chains, he's not Italian, but that's who he thought he was, I guess.
I didn't say gold chains. I said the rings.
Right. It was, late 70s, early 80s.
That was it. That was the time.
Yeah.
That was the
fast
time.
Cars and the whole nine.
Yeah, it was my time too.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
I'd like to thank my guest today for allowing all of us to join in on their process, their journey. And I'd like to thank you for not only listening, but coming together in a oneness vibration. Thanks again.